Hi, everyone. Good evening, wherever you're watching us from. Um, Today we are live and we welcome you to the Solver's Table, where every problem has a solver. My name is Iheme, your host for today, and I invite you to pull up a seat because the conversation at the table tonight might just be something that will change how you see the world. So the Solver's Table is a space where I sit down with people solving real problems through their work or business. On this table, we go beyond the highlight reel. We talk about the struggles, the turning points, the lessons, and the impact these solvers are creating. Today, I'm joined by three founders doing remarkable work right here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Kassy, Aria, and I'll call him Ash by the short form of his name. These are the team behind the NLight Recycling. So welcome to the table, servers. Before we dive in, I would love each of you to introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us about yourself and also tell us in one word what NLight Recycling means to you. So I'll start with Kassy.
Yes, my name is Kassy Keats at NLight Recycling. I'm the Director of Policy and Outreach, and currently I'm an undergraduate student at Memorial University completing a bachelor's in political science. And NLight Recycling to me, in one word, is circularity. We're really aiming for a circular economy in Newfoundland and Labrador to add to it. And with recycling textiles, that's what we're aiming to do.
All right,
Wow.
I can go next. My name is Aayushman Srivastava. I go by Ash because it's easier to pronounce. I'm a year 4 mechanical engineering student at the Memorial University, and I'm very excited to have this opportunity to talk about our company here. To me, NLight means, in one word, I'd say solution. It's a solution to a really big problem that's all over the world right now, and yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Hi, I'm Aria. I'm a computer science student at Memorial University. I'm also a full stack software developer. I've been working with this device at NLight, and I've been the director of operations and process. To me, NLight in one word can be summed up in sustainability, to ending the current practices of just using and throwing away without looking past anything that's happening.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And for our audience watching today, we would love for you to drop your questions or your comments in the chat. We'll do our best to bring them into the conversation and so our guests answering any of the questions that you have today. It's very awesome listening to you guys when you guys are introducing yourself and with the one word each of you used. I heard solution, I heard circular economy, and I heard sustainability, which is very, very interesting. But there's something that is very striking that I think anybody watching will have the same question. Um, you guys are studying some different things in different fields, but united with one mission, right? To make the environment and uh, more sustainable for us, to bring solution to the table, and also to solve climate change problem. I want to ask, how did you guys meet? To and took up this whole challenge to solve this problem in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah, we were all peers actually in university. We all went to the same residence. We all lived in the same residence, but we all united on the forefront of the textile pollution issue when we entered the EcoNext Ideathon 2025, and we were faced with the challenge of coming up with ways to lower GHG emissions in Newfoundland and Labrador, and that's when we saw the scale and the depth of the textile issue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you could say that we stumbled over the issue, if anything, because it's not as popularized as other issues that you'd see in the world right now. Our initial idea in the Ideathon was just to have like a general recycling facility for different types of wastes. And so we were looking into electronic waste, we were looking into rubber waste, and we started looking into textile waste. And then just the sheer volume, the data points that came up for textile waste were just so much bigger than any other type of waste included. It was insane.
Yeah, GHG emissions, as you know, are a global problem. this textile problem is not just global, it's also local. About 15 kilotons of the waste produced in Newfoundland is textile waste that usually just ends up in landfills or gets incarcerated.
Wow. That's really, really interesting. And we all know that climate issue is a global problem that everybody wants to solve. And not just solve, it's something that also requires a lot of thinking, a lot of strategic thinking to bring to the table to even be able to bring that solution that is going to help. But I'm more curious, why Newfoundland? Why now? Why did you see that that opportunity to say this is the time to solve this problem in Newfoundland and Labrador?
Yeah, in Newfoundland and Labrador, there's a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs, and we saw the scale of the issue that exists within Newfoundland and Labrador, but also then the lack of available solutions that Newfoundland and Labrador currently has to the issue. Currently, to our knowledge, there aren't many initiatives towards textile waste in Newfoundland and Labrador, and so we saw this very much real issue of textile pollution. And in Newfoundland and Labrador, again, there's so many different opportunities for entrepreneurs, and we wanted to take advantage of that in order to give back to the community and deal with a lot of this waste that is just being thrown away into landfills and polluting our beautiful province.
Yeah, again, I'll go back to the EcoNext Ideathon. So a little bit more about the issue that we were meant to solve with our idea was a local solution to the greenhouse gas emissions. But while we were doing research, we realized the textile issue is actually, well, it's a local issue and it's a global one, like Aria said. So it's not really something where you look at, I'll do this for this particular place. It's just that you need to start somewhere, and the best place to start is where you live.
We really stumbled into a very timely problem, I would say, because as we did this ideathon, the textile recycling technology is just maturing, and it's just reaching to the place where you can start building this facility on scale. As proof of this, there are multiple facilities that are over $100 million being built in the United States, which is really a validation of what we are doing here. And we are really in the right place, not just in Newfoundland, but in Canada. Canada is falling behind US, Europe, China when it comes to textile recycling. We don't have anything beyond simple mechanical recycling happening in Canada right now. And given the state of technology and given the state of Canada, I think this is really a great problem to stumble into right now.
That's awesome. There is something that Ash said. He said, what's the best thing to do to solve a problem that you are closer to? And I have that same belief that the best people to solve problem are those that are living in the community, because people outside may not understand the community in a full scope. But if you're living in that community, you have much more knowledge on how to bring that solution to that community. And of course, if it becomes something scalable, climate issue is a global one. So why not? If you can be able to either sell your ideas or collaborate with other people from different countries, and also, help them solve that issue that we have already solved here. But what has been the hardest part so far? Because I know that you guys are now starting out, and so many challenges. Probably you faced it already. So what have been the hardest parts?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest challenge that I think all of us have faced is definitely balancing working on NLight and wanting to push our idea forward and making connections and balancing that out with our student lives and balancing that out with our professional lives and our social lives. And it's finding that balance where we can put meaningful time into NLight without overriding the rest of our life, right?
Yeah, very necessary.
Yeah, and I think the issue is actually a little bit even deeper than that, where it's not just that you have to find time aside from everything else that you're doing for NLight. It's also the fact that starting a company essentially from nothing, you have to do, well, we might have like director titles, but really we're all doing everything, right? It's not like we're in section roles. We're not in a organizational company where our roles are very strict and we're working only specific times of the day. It's kind of everything at any time whenever you have time, right? So it's not just you have to manage other stuff with NLight, it's that you have to manage stuff in NLight with other stuff in NLight.
And outside of this time thing that Cassie and Ash pointed out, we also have an issue when it comes to having experience in this field or having knowledge of this field. We really stepped into something that was truly unknown to all three of us. And this is the first company we've made. Again, we need to make a facility. This is the first facility that we're gonna make and work on. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of things we don't know. There's a lot of things that we are uncertain about that we won't really find out any answers to until we face them.
There's also actually, now that you bring that up, there's also a fairly big gap in, I guess, resources, knowledge, and connections that we have access to as students. Like you'd think we have like great access to a lot of things, but like the textile field and recycling has been so, I guess, left behind that there's not really that many experts that we can talk to or reach out to that are close to us or resources that we can take up.
Yeah, and you brought up Newfoundland. I wanna shout them out.
Yes.
They've been a great friend to us, and we've talked with people who work in Newfoundland, and they've been a great resource because they are doing what we want to do, part of it, and they've built a facility. They have that knowledge and experience that we are trying to gain, but there aren't that many people like them in the island that we can reach out to and connect with. But again, once this stuff are more set up, once there are a few pioneers, there are infrastructures for people to become pioneers here. But the thing that we need is experience and knowledge, local experience and knowledge that can only become available once some people have tried and failed and have set up this environment for others to come along.
Wow. Talking about work-life balance, that has always been a big issue for servers out there, because most people go to 9 to 5 job every day, right? And they spend 8 hours and they come home, they're able to focus on other things. But once you become a server, you're solving a problem. What you realize is that you get to spend more than 8 hours working on that problem daily. And before you know it, if you tally those hours, it becomes something else. And what people usually notice is that certain things begin to die off, either their social life or their family, get together time. They are not able to, have that time they usually have with their family. And then we talk about issue of resources, knowledge, and another one is the lack of role models. Because once you set out to solve a problem, you're always, scanning for, is there someone who have done this before? Were there challenges that they encountered and how did they solve those challenges? But when you don't have those people, most especially here in Newfoundland and Labrador, it becomes something very scary to, keep putting your foot out there. And sometimes your mind kind of tells you that, are you sure you're not going too much? Will you fail? And it's usually a scary thing because that fear of failure is because of the limited resources that you have with you that you are trying to solve that issue with. And that brings me to my next question. Was there a time you guys almost gave up? And what kind of kept you guys going?
Yeah, I would say, we're pretty young. We've only been incorporated since, I think, January. So I would say around 6 months in operation. I think we're young enough to where we haven't yet had any of those instances. But as for any startup, I already have experience with working in another startup. Things are bleak often. Like with startups, things are going to be very intensive on yourself, along with the work you do and any of the mental effort that you have to put in. So it's not unheard of, and I'm not saying that I can't see us getting to a point where we'll want to give up, but I do believe that we have the strength and passion to be able to push through those rough patches that eventually we will face.
Yeah.
Idea started because people in the industry here kind of pushed us. When we presented our idea at the EcoNext Ideathon, the judges there, the responses that we received and the questions that we received from the judges were dissimilar to the questions that we expected. It wasn't, oh, there is this problem with your idea, there is this problem with your idea. It was, oh, what about this? Let's do this. It sounds great. What do you guys think about that? That was the first push that we had. Then we presented our idea at the EcoNext conference, and people there were really excited about the idea. And many people came up to us and asked us if we are going to incorporate, become a company, try to make it real. And that further pushed us to thinking it's possible and that we can do it. And we talked to others with experience in industry and recycling and green economy in Newfoundland, and they were also very positive about our prospects. I would say probably failure would have been most likely and stopping would have been most likely when we started if it wasn't for the support that we received about this idea from the community around us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Aria said, continuing on, every time that we meet new organizations and community members and we have the chance to talk with them and learn from their set of knowledge as well and share our experience and what we're doing, we're usually met with positivity and helpful resources from communities and local industries. And so that, especially throughout how daunting this whole process has been, like for me personally, this is my first startup. This is the first time I've been an entrepreneur, and it's been daunting, but having that positive feedback and knowing that we have these resources and we can reach out to these local partners, it has certainly been helpful in the process.
That's awesome. I love that you guys touched the point of the part of the winning the EcoNext Ideathon prize. And I wanted to ask, what did that mean for the team? How has that helped you to incorporate or start up or keep going? And maybe the feeling you guys got, I think you guys won the first prize. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's huge. Congratulations to you guys. So winning the first prize, and you're welcome. And like winning the first prize and pitching your idea among other people who were there pitching their own idea as well. How did you guys feel? What did that mean for your team?
Yeah, I mean, as with any competition, if you're going to go out and do a real competition and win the first prize, I think you're going to be in high spirits. So that was a great touch to, I think that was September last year, or where we said, hey, this is really good. None of us were, like I said, we weren't really, we didn't really have textile issue in mind. Like we stumbled across it during the Ideathon, and then we developed our concept from there, and then we won. So winning the first prize didn't just mean that, hey, you came up with a great idea. It also meant, hey, your idea seems plausible, right? Because EcoNext was very adamant that their Ideathon consistently is able to produce companies that ideas that go out and become companies. And that's exactly what happened when we went to their conference and we received support from industry professionals, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. And that also means that when you get to that point that you hit those stones or those rocks or challenges or whatever that will make you guys question, why did you even choose this path? Knowing that someone has pledged on you guys to say, I believe in your idea, and not just someone, a whole organization, I think that's going to help all of you believe more in what you're doing. Because on Summer's table, we don't want to kind of talk about, okay, you're solving a problem is so much sweet to solve and everything, but we do recognize that there are some times where you question yourself. You feel like, why did I even choose this problem to solve? But knowing that, I love that you guys won that Ideathon, and I feel that it's going to push you guys more to believe that now there is an organization in this province that believe in what we're doing, and let's go out there to make this worthwhile. So congratulations again on that. For the audience watching, I'm sure they will have this question like, how does NLight, do their work? How does it work? Can you walk us through that process?
Yeah. NLight works. Our idea is to do mechanical and chemical recycling of textiles, with our production being in phases. So phase one would have us originally doing mechanical recycling, which results in open fibers, which can be used in multiple industries, such as industrial absorbents, marine absorbents, upholstery, in the open fibers industry. And in sort of the phase two, we'll use phase one mostly as a validation of funding, of really getting our feet in the ground and making sure that this is something that is plausible, and really getting that validation. And in phase two, we want to focus on doing the full circularity, doing full chemical recycling, which would result in PET and recycled cotton fibers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it has phase one and phase two of the whole processing. Okay.
Yeah, we have. We also plan on doing a bit more R&D stuff and trying to find a solution to sorting materials. So right now, the way that the chemical recycling works is that you need clothing have different compositions, and you would need different kind of lines to handle different kind of clothing. There exist solutions out there to separate clothing by material, but the issue is the part to remove, for example, this metal piece from my clothing, that has not been automated yet. And that is where the most of the costs go in this process, in removing that kind of chains and materials that can't be recycled through this process. We plan on developing an R&D project to help with that part. Uh, and the phase one, we are also trying to cut it even down shorter. We are very open about the process, what we are trying to do, where we are right now. And if you go to our website, nlight.ca/pilot-project, you will find a lot of information about the exact process and the steps that we are taking, the machine that we're going to be using, and all of that.
Yeah, I think the main concept that's, I guess, in layman terms easier to grasp is we're going to take the waste that ends up in landfills or incinerators or gets shipped overseas. We're going to take that waste, and instead of it producing emissions and harming the environment, we're going to reintroduce it into the economy in a different way or in a similar way, depending on which phase we're looking at. So for phase one, it would be for upholstery, for insulation stuffing, or for craft supplies, right? And for phase two, we would be getting back to the original fibers that we have. So we're essentially trying to reintroduce that waste that would harm the environment by emissions back into the economy.
Wow. I love the way you guys have broken it down in phases, and it's kind of, even a layman can understand what you guys are all about and how all those processes, is going to work. What does success look like for NLight by the time you guys have gone through all these processes?
I think, I think this is going to be like separate based on what each of our minds think of on this. But according to me, I think success for us in the short term would be getting a facility set up and starting to process that waste and having like a reasonable amount that we can process. Like if we were able to show, hey, in this past month, we diverted this kg of clothing waste from landfills and we saved this amount of CO2 emissions. I think that's already a success in itself. But I think for the longer term, we would have a better facility that's completely established, and we would have completed R&D, and we would have a new solution to sort textile properly and be able to, we would like it to be almost fully automated so that it doesn't have any inefficiencies in the system, and it's able to process, for example, this t-shirt that I'm wearing back into the fibers that it was made from.
Wow. And we're able to wear it again.
I mean, if well, that is one part of what you can do. So when you get recycled fibers back from clothing, you can mix them with the newly grown fiber. So if this shirt was 100% cotton, we could recycle it back into cotton fibers, and their quality would be a little bit lesser than just newly grown cotton plants. They would be, I think, about 99, anywhere from 97 to 99%. So it's still really good quality, and what the recommended path is to mix them with the virgin fibers and make clothing out of it again.
Yeah, and the PETs, they can be used anywhere. They have use for everything. The polyester in clothing is basically the most common form of plastic. It can be used anywhere plastic is being used. We would like it all to fit back into textiles and clothing to keep the circular model.
Yeah, I think some research that we did back during the Ideathon revealed, and correct me on the numbers, but I think in 2020 globally, there was about 92 million tons of textile waste that was produced in the world. And there was 100 million tons of new material that was introduced into the market. So that margin is very small. There's like almost as much material entering the market as is leaving the market. And the material that's leaving the market, only about 1% of it globally gets recycled, right? So what's happening to that huge number of textile that we produce every year?
Less than 1%, and it usually doesn't go back into making more clothing. It just goes into the most typical form of clothing getting recycled is mechanical recycling and turn the clothing into rags, which does not go back into producing new clothing. But our process promises the return to the clothing.
Yeah, and it's also a big issue in Canada with the we always encourage people, of course, to donate their clothing to local thrift stores, but a lot of the clothing that thrift stores received also can't be used, or it's like something about 50% of all the clothing donated to thrift stores ends up getting donated or ends up getting sold to a sorting facility in Toronto and then just exported again to the global south markets to then be, our waste is then given again to these global, we're just exporting our waste.
Wow. We just got a comment from YouTube. Someone, correct me if I mispronounce your name, but he or she or they, whatever pronounce the person is using, said, "Hello guys. Is it Tietal Bakham, founder of Renwi Sort, an early stage textile waste management initiative? Would love to connect and collaborate." So that's awesome. Please, can you let us know where you are watching from? Yeah, I would love to have you on board, and you can email us on the serverstable@proventia.com. Is kind of passing through on the screen, so that I can connect you with them, with the servers here on the table today. So that's awesome. I love the fact that people are watching and they love what you guys are saying, and the spirit of collaboration and partnership is coming up. That's the whole, the whole thing about the server stable, because one thing is that as a server, you can't do much on your own. You need collaboration, you need partnership, and when we talk about huge problem like the ones you guys are solving, you need all the hands on deck, to be able to push the solution out there. And I'm just listening to you guys, learning more. But before this episode, I went to your website, and it's really, really awesome that you guys are not just doing textile-to-textile recycling. You guys are educating people out there. So I'm kind of inviting our audience to check out your website, NLight.ca. There is so many blog posts they've posted out there. They talk about different things for you to understand their industry. So that is also a very good one that you guys, the audience, if you want to learn more about NLight Recycling, you can come and kind of go to their website. They are so good on their education part. They are not just about recycling alone. So and
if someone wants to contact us in the future, they can also go to our website, and we have a contact us page. You can either use the emails for partners and general inquiry, or you can use the form on the website.
That's awesome. So for Beckham, sorry if I mispronounce your name again. You can kind of reach them out on their website as well. They have a contact page on their website. You can reach them directly, and I would love to see the collaboration and the partnership and what it's going to bring out. I'm very, very excited, and fingers crossed. Speaking about the time you guys started, let's rewind back last year September, when you went for your pitching contest. You won up until the time you got incorporated, and it's 6 months already into the year. What is it that you guys know now that you wish you could have known before you started?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think one thing that we really realized after really sitting down and working on this idea is, I guess for me at least, I realized just how many different initiatives and opportunities there were out there for entrepreneurs, and especially for clean energy, for solid waste management. It definitely doesn't always meet the mainstream, all these different initiatives that are going on, or all these different funding opportunities that enter the market. And you kind of do have to look for them. But once you enter the space, it certainly highlights how much support there is in the province for entrepreneurs. And it's just finding out how to get in contact with these resources and understanding how to do applications and everything like that. So definitely at the beginning, it would have been nice to know just how, it's nice to see just how much support and resources and funding there is in Newfoundland and Labrador for entrepreneurship and for clean energy.
Yeah, I have a bit of an interesting take on this. I think from a perspective that maybe only I have, it's at the same time it's easier than it looks from the outside, and also more difficult. Before we started our own company, I think that there's quite a bit of stereotypical buildup around how you start your own company, or how much work you have to put in, or what type of work it is, right? Tying back to the thing, it's at the same time it's harder than it looks, and also easier, because again, there are resources that you will find that will make your lives a lot easier, but there will be times where you just can't seem to find any resource for what you want to do, right? Because it's all about sitting in meetings and thinking, hey, this is the next step for us. And then you do some research and you realize, hey, we can't really do this right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think this is a very personal question for all three of us. For me, I also have a different answer from Ash and Kassy. And I think it's all the little things that you kind of know if you've been doing things like this, but you really have no idea before starting, and they can be very simple. For example, just registering a company. When we were starting, we didn't know what some of the fields meant. We thought we would need to print out a paper, type it in, mail it, and then we found out, oh, it's actually an online form. We were fully ready to print it out, either send the PDF files in, scan it, and all that. So it's all the really little stuff that once you've been in here, you know about them. You know about the different kind of companies that you can register. You know the registration process. You know what you need to import materials. You know who you need to reach out to if you want to find a quote or something. And you really don't have any idea before starting this process on any of this. And the first time you do is just like stepping through wild. And all this experience will be very valuable no matter where we go in life.
That's almost to say you learn by doing, right? You wait till the time you have all the blueprints. What usually happens is that by the time you set up to start doing, a lot of things have changed. Talking about company registration, probably the process you went through when you were doing yours, it may not be the same if you say you wanted to wait till maybe 2 years time to start, or till when you graduate before you can start running your company. Maybe you realize that it's no longer going to be a PDF thing, or clearing out that AI thing is all out. Maybe there's other processes you have to go through So it's for our audience watching, and if you feel that there's something you want to do, there's a problem your heart is asking you to solve, just start. I think there's a brand, I think Nike has that tagline, just do it, right? Just start. You're gonna be afraid. Each of us here on this table today, I'm sure if we have to tell you the story of we being afraid of starting something, we're not going to live here today, but we just started, right? And we are learning as we go. So if you don't take anything else from this episode today, I want you to take out that whatever you want to do, just do it. Just start. And you're going to learn as you go. So it's already 7 months into the I didn't think to the new year, then I caught myself back. I like, it's no longer a new year. It's an old year already. So 7 months into 2026, you guys have done a lot. You've incorporated, which is a huge one, plus other things that you guys are doing. The remaining months that 2026 still have for us, what is next for NLight Recycling? What's next?
Yeah, I think what's next for us, like at the moment, we're really trying to reach out to potential clients. We're trying to gauge interest in our phase one open fibers, and we're trying to gain knowledge about what clients are looking for in our products, what type of information do they need. And I know Aria and Ash are working hard on the machinery side, figuring out exactly like what machinery we need, the import of that machinery. But I think I'll let them talk about the machinery more.
Right. I think so. I don't know if we've mentioned before, but we're a part of the incubator from EcoNext, the Project Zero incubator. It's focused on circularity. And as we're going through the incubator, there's assignments and things to help us as we go through our journey. And while that is helping us have a stronger idea about what we want to achieve, on the back burner, we're consistently reaching out to people that we can get the waste from and people that we can sell our products to. So like Kassy said, there's quite a bit of market research that's being done for who all can use the open fiber product, for example, for phase one. And there's quite a bit of research on a lot of context that would be helpful. I know we've had tons of meetings with different professors at the university just to see if they have any ability to help us out. And I think for Aria especially, actually, I'll let him talk on what he's up to. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been mostly doing the machinery side and finding out what's going on there. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on with NLight, particularly partnering up with some of the companies on the island to try and make a stronger case for recycling on the island. I think that's one of the most exciting things that we are working on right now. We have a milestone document for at what point we want to reach certain milestones, such as becoming operational, bringing in the first batch of materials, selling our first batch, and a lot of those fall into the next 6 months. That's at least our goal. That's what we're trying to do. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on. The most immediate ones being that we are very close to getting machinery, opening facility, and finding customers.
Yeah, I think the one thing that got a little left on the back of our minds is, as a startup, you're actively looking for funding, right? So anything that we do, if we had the pocket money to just fund our business, then it wouldn't really be an issue. And I'm sure we'd be looking to a lot of different sources to help us with that. But thing is, we're 3 students. We don't have the capital to just dump into an idea. So I think one of the things that has been at the forefront since any sort of development started, and that will be at the forefront for, I think, foreseeable future, is trying to get that those funding and the grants from either the government or a private source to be able to start working on our facility. Because we can sort out our logistics, we can sort out a facility, we can sort out whatever, right? But if we don't have the money to bring that machine in and start working on some clothes, then we can't really start anything.
the very interesting thing that we've been doing, and we've talked with professionals in the industry who have their own companies and have done their own process to get here, is they've been working backwards from what we think are possible funding pathways into what kind of facility we can make. And it's definitely been challenging keeping all the info in mind. It's solving a lot of variables in math, but I think it's a really good approach that we've been taking towards this.
Wow. And it's I wanted to say like listening to you guys talk, there's so much admiration I have for your team. And I'm sure any other person watching also have the same admiration for just how you guys are so knowledgeable with what you're solving, and also the heart that you have behind the problem you are solving. Because there are a lot of people who are solving problem, they just want to solve it, right? Either maybe the funding that they will get or the upload that they're going to get for it. But listening to you guys, there is that heart behind the problem you guys are solving. And even though, which of course we all know, funding is a very big issue, especially for startups, even for those who are already in the business for a long time, funding is still a very big part of it. But I'm sure with the heart you guys have behind this problem, that's going to push you guys more to whoever you guys talk to is just going to see the problem you guys are solving, and I'm sure they are going to come on board. And evidence is that someone is already saying, I want to collaborate with you guys. So that's just to tell you that people can sense that heart behind this problem you guys are solving. So keep it up. And that brings me to another question I want to ask before we wrap up. There's so many notion out there about co-founders, right? If you want to co-found with someone, the way they say it's like a marriage. You are typically married to that person because you guys are going to just work hand in hand. But you guys' situation is unique because it's not just two people co-founding a company, but you guys are three. So I'm sure someone out there may be saying or asking themselves, like, how can I be like you guys? I have a problem. I think I would like to bring other people on board, but I'm so scared about all the things out there about co-founders and so many of these things. So I just want you guys to give us an advice, right? For someone who have a vision and wants to build alongside others, how are you guys doing it? For people to sit and listen to you guys and feel that collaboration between the three of you, how can they also do that for themselves?
Yeah, I think you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say something simple. I think that there's a lot of value that, especially coming into this, I realized the value of having so much interdisciplinary knowledge. Ash is an engineer. Aria is a computer scientist. I'm a political scientist. There is a vast breadth of knowledge between the three of us, and what I'd always like to do is whenever they're talking, I'm always constantly trying to learn from them, learn about their disciplinaries and learning from them. And that's certainly one of the great things about working with three people or working with more, is that you're constantly learning from the people around you, because you all have different knowledge sets and different strengths that can complement each other and can build your own knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if someone's looking to, I guess, co-found an idea with someone else, I think the thing that they should be looking at for most is passion. So if the other person that you're talking to isn't interested in going that direction with their life, because it's a very different path than most people take, right? Co-founding something such like a startup is very different from what people imagine that they would be doing, and it's a different lifestyle than what even I thought was before I got into this. So just looking for that passion is always important. And I think I don't know how much talk of this is available like on online sources, but whenever you enter into any sort of non-verbal contract, is what I'm going to call the relationship between co-founders, you're going to need to set some ground rules. Like, I know we have talked about this before, and it's pretty important to us that we want commitment towards the idea, because as much as a company, we're also aiming to solve a global issue, but our personal lives and our priorities will always take precedence over what's going to be required for NLight. So there's never going to be pressure from any of us on any of us to say, for example, hey, you're not doing this right. You need to drop this other thing to focus on NLight more, right? Mm-hmm. So and I think that's something that you need there to be in each startup to build a strong relationship with the co-founders. And I think as far as professional relationships goes, I think like Kassy said, you try to learn as much from someone else and try to have someone from a different discipline, and you can increase your knowledge. Like I know if I was working with two other engineers, like they could be mechanical engineers, computer engineers, whatever, right? They would know most stuff about computer science or political science. So that's the type of people that you want to target if you're looking for a co-founder, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer the question a bit more literally in the way that it was asked. I think there's two parts to the question. One is how you find a co-founder, and second is how do you collaborate with them. Mm-hmm. In the first part, I can't be of much help because this kind of just happened. I don't know how you go about finding co-founders. I'm sure there are better sources than me available online. But on the second one, how you collaborate, in NLight we found that a lot of existing processes that exist for software engineering and for engineering overall have been really helpful in how we conduct and share tasks and what we do, how we organize our work. I come from a professional background of software development, and we've put some of those tools that we used in software development for working across teams in place for working on this idea, even though there isn't much software to it. I started working in an engineering company, and they had some processes that I really liked, so we started implementing those in our collaboration style. And I think just moving ahead, it's important to not implement those collaboration styles to the T, but customize it so it fits your company and your co-founders and how you want to collaborate. But they can give you a general idea of what are some good practices to do.
That's really awesome. And I there's something that just popped in my head when you guys were talking. I was like kind of imagining that with the different fields you guys are handling for NLight Recycling, I kind of imagine if one person was doing this work and you have to hire each of these expertise, how much you're going to pay, even as a startup, to be able to get one of you is a computer scientist, one of you is mechanical engineer, the other one is political scientist. So you see that if you wanted to hire someone with this expertise, it's going to cost you a lot. But the advantage of having a co-founder or co-founders is that you guys bring this expertise together and you're able to move faster than someone who is just starting alone. And most times, which not even most times, all the time, every person who set out to solve a problem usually wears so many hats at the same time. You are your own payroll person, you're yourself, you're a marketer, you are even the person who goes out to sort out for partnerships, you're going to research about policy around your field, and even the website aspect of this whole thing, right? How do you put out your blog posts and stuff like that? So even it was really awesome going to your website and seeing that you guys have latest blog posts, that one can read. If it was one person handling that, you're going to see that maybe the last time they posted a blog was probably 2 months ago or 3 months ago, or even this last year, right? And that's because the person is juggling so much at the same time. But if you have that advantage and there's something you guys said about passion and alignment and, having that heart behind the problem. Because one thing is that sometimes we just talk about, we have a business that we are running, or we have a problem that we're trying to solve. And then we sideline the personal life of the person solving that problem. But there's a thin line between the problem you are solving and your personal life. And most times, your personal life is going to affect more what you are solving. There is no two ways about it. Let's say, for example, if you didn't sleep well last night, the way you're going to show up at work is going to really, affect the work you're going to do that day. And then again, if you go to work that day and you have a bad day, that can also affect how you're going to sleep in the evening or in the night. So you see that it's more of like the right hand washes the left hand, the left hand washes the right hand. So I love that you guys have given your two piece on how to collaborate and find the person that you can work alongside with. And just like people out there say, it's more like a marriage kind of thing. You are married to this person as far as you're working with the person, and you just don't want to always create that tension of, hey, you're not doing this work, we want you to stop what you're doing. The person start feeling like the resentment start building. Before you know it, that's why a lot of people fire co-founders all the time. We hear it in the news all the time, like, we started this work together, I was fired. But I mean, it's a whole lot. But thank you guys for giving out your advice to us watching, that things that we can do to be able to find a person or the people that we want to work with. So before I wrap up with the last question, we cannot leave this episode without talking about AI, right? AI is something that is out there now and is taking over. Well, taking over with not taking over humans with doing the work, but what I mean by how the world is evolving in terms of business, in terms of problem solving. So what do you guys have to say about AI adoption in the work that you guys have?
Right. I've seen some sort of narratives in some corners of the internet where people are like, oh, AI is such an amazing tool, just let it make your business for you. Right. And I think that never comes with the little hash bottom footnote on the page that it depends a lot from business to business. Right. Yeah. Like you can use it for market research, and deep research, which we did for the Ideathon just to come up with study papers. Right. But then we had to look into those studies and do the calculations manually. And again, AI as a tool is always evolving, but you have to be very mindful of what its capabilities are. And you have to make sure it's not extrapolating from current data, because some models tend to have that tendency. But I think it's a great tool, and if you can weaponize it, it's going to be really helpful. I'm not going to say that, hey, 95% of what we do is AI, but there's definitely an aspect in it. Like, we're not getting AI to write all our emails and send them out, but we are getting AI to look for contacts that we can reach out to, right?
Beautiful. Awesome. Any other addition to what I said?
I think if you're going to use AI, is just very good for you to have some basic knowledge of how it works, what's going on, and there are many courses out for it now to be able to best utilize it. The truth of the fact is, it's a magic word predictor, and if you know how to use it, how to utilize it, it can be really helpful to you. And if you find out the tricks, the small things that it can do wrong, the small things that it can do right, then it can really be a game changer for how you do your work. But otherwise, it can really harm what you do. You got to be really mindful about how it works, and just try to be cautious, learn the basics, and move forward.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for adding your voice to AI, because I know a lot of people like, so are they using AI or not? So how are you adapting it? So thanks for speaking to that. So before we go, where can people find you, and how can they support NLight Recycling?
Yeah, they can find us at NLight.ca. They can follow our social media accounts, NLight Recycling, on LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. LinkedIn and Instagram. And they can contact us through our contact page at nlight.ca. And we're always open to hearing from people and making those connections. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we all have LinkedIn accounts, and we're fairly active on LinkedIn as co-founders usually are. So I'm sure if someone wanted to reach out to us from that platform, I think it would be the best way to reach out to us, considering LinkedIn holds all your professional history and stuff like that. It's a good way to connect with people.
And if you want to reach out to any of us personally through email, our professional emails for NLight are also available on the website. Just scroll down to the bottom homepage, team members. You will see us and our emails.
Awesome. What if they want to reach out to you individually, right? So, is it the same name you guys have on the screen, or where can they, like, what name can they use to reach out to you guys?
Yeah, I think well, if they want to reach out to us individually, they can feel free to look up our name on LinkedIn, and you can find whichever name is attached to NLight. As of now, there's only 3 names attached, and it's us 3. So if you look up the website and you go into if you look up the company on LinkedIn and you go into people, that's probably the easiest way.
Yeah, the website, team members, you'll find our full names, links to our LinkedIn, and emails that we have for NLight.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This has really been a very, 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 very insightful conversation, and to know more about what you guys are doing here, here in Newfoundland and Labrador, and of course, knowing fully well that you guys really have a heart behind the problem that you are solving, and you want to see it go far. So I really want to thank each of you for pulling up a seat with me today to talk about the problem you are solving here on the Solvers Table. And to everyone watching, thank you so much for being here as well. For those who watch the replay, thank you too for watching. And remember, every problem has a solver. And maybe the next one may be you. So until then, keep solving and keep making impact wherever you find yourself. Thank you so much to our solvers today, and we hope to keep in touch and hear more about what you guys are solving through NLight Recycling. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you very much, guys. And
thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.